And we are live, you guys. Hello, all you cool cats and kittens. Welcome to the Women of FWA live Q&A. Since the Fin Show and Security Expo, we had to take 2 weeks off because the first week was the actual show, and then last week we were all just dying of whatever plague attacked us, right?
For real though.
Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna kind of start off, and I want to know how everybody's travels home was. Like, Yadira, you didn't have to travel home.
I had to travel so far and it was so exhausting.
No, let's talk about Amanda Hunt's travel home. This woman left at like midnight and got home at like 2:00 the next day.
I did. I was so excited to get home. I didn't want to wait like till the next morning to leave. So I'm like, Friday at midnight? That sounds good. I slept. I had nobody in the row with me, so I got to like lay down and sleep.
Nice.
Yeah. From
That
Vegas
never
to
happens.
Detroit, and then I flew Detroit to Grand Rapids and then drove 3 hours home. So I literally pulled in my driveway and my family wasn't even home. I laid my seat back and closed my eyes for 5 minutes before I even came inside. I was so
Wow. Wow. Amanda Grove, like y'all had some crazy adventure heading back too. Y'all didn't leave until like Saturday and then got stuck somewhere because of some storm or another.
We did. We actually didn't leave until Sunday morning. And then, so we flew to Louisville and then we drove to Evansville, Indiana. And we were supposed to drive to get us stuck.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
our truck
there we
did
go.
get stuck in Kansas in a windstorm. So
that's wild. Only the greatest things happen to all of us, right? Tiffany, what were your travels like heading home? You kind of left halfway midday on Friday.
Happened to mine.
Yeah, midday Friday. Friday the 13th, just to be really specific. Not that I'm like super superstitious, but I'm also not a good flyer. So I was full of nerves, and I had a wonderful Australian gentleman who was a steward provide me an ample flow of margaritas to help take care of that the way home.
Nice.
And a large box of tissue, which was really nice of him. And then I caught a bus from the airport and spent another couple hours on the bus, three and a half-ish hours on the bus. And then my husband picked me up in the middle of the night at a bus depot in the middle of nowhere. And it was awesome.
Oh, man.
I kind of love that story. Like, that's like a true, like, Friday the 13th kind of story there.
Yeah, right.
Even Michaela's like, ew, spooky Tiff. I love it. Well, I mean, it was a great week. I really thought it was. It was a weird week. I'll definitely say that, with the wildfires and everything happening, the hurricane happening down here, and like Amanda's back on. She's prepping for her. Nope.
She's trying.
There we go. She's prepping for a hurricane that's supposed to hit them on Thursday. So like, it's just one of those weird follow-up weeks. But let's talk about demo days real fast. I know a couple of y'all made it out there and a couple of you didn't, but that was amazing. I remember getting out there and like people are just kind of standing around, and I'm like, why don't you go drive some posts? And they're like, oh, we don't drive posts. We we dig and set. And I'm like, that's fine, but aren't you curious? Oh yeah, I am. And like at one point, I walked out there and there's just tons of people building like rows and rows of fence, right? And I run inside to like go get something. I come back out. There's like 5 fences built out there, y'all.
Yeah.
I know Amanda was out at demo days, right?
Right.
Did you build a fence, girl?
Those people are hardworking, and it was hot out there. Okay, I was out there. It was so hot, but they still
and
were
pretty smoky, really.
Yeah,
those fires that you were talking about. I want to shout out Bailey. My time out at the demo days yard was a blast. I love that you guys had the big fan and the mister there. So as much as it was hot and it was smoky and there's, a lot of conversation and moving around and stuff, you could really go just cool down for a second pretty easily, plus the drinks and food and all the goodies. But I got to watch Bailey just go to town doing her thing as an installer. And it's not, it's not that there's not a lot of women installers out there. There really are. But it was just fun to see, see how she looked in work mode. Because I feel like, I don't know, I feel like some people expect her to be out there with like the yard hose, like dousing herself down and being like, I'm a woman in fence, you know what I mean?
No.
I think
she was like all muscle, like in stuff and digging holes.
Yeah, I think she could work circles around some of the guys I know even. So I was really proud, I was just filled with pride. Like, that's my dog.
Yeah, seriously. No, for real. And Amanda, your husband, Billy, was out there kind of like one of the main contacts organizing it. And you were just out there like taking pictures and tell me about like how you felt about demo days.
So being my first time, it was pretty impressive seeing all the people that showed up, all of the different things that I've never seen. I got to see new tools and new things being used. And then just looking at how excited everyone is to watch these demos and see like what they can do in the future is really impressive. And I have to say, I have to follow up on what you said, Tiffany. Bailey killed it. I watched Bailey building that fence. Like, she killed it.
She killed it even for the setup. I was just so impressed with that woman and how much work and how much effort she put out there in that sun.
And she makes it look easy because that's just what she does every day. It's not like she was putting on a show of like, hey, look at how I can work. It's just, that's Bailey. She's a tough bitch. Sorry.
So while we're sitting here, Amanda, what is your daughter's name? Because I didn't introduce her.
Maria.
Hi, Maria. Hi. Is this your first time on a podcast?
Yeah. So. She's probably sat in with Daddy on a few, but.
Are you going to be a woman of the FWA someday?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. Future leader right there.
Who knows how to Amanda smears already and pound post. She's out there directing our guys some days.
I love it. Boss baby right there. Michaela, stop it. I love her. We all do, Michaela. She's been so sweet and helpful. So Amanda Hunt, because yes, we have two Amandas here tonight, and I'm getting really confused, and I'm sorry, y'all. I know that this was your first time at the Fence Show and Security Expo, and you felt really led to just show up all by yourself, traveling and the whole nine, leaving your family at home. Can you kind of speak to it a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So initially, my husband was supposed to be gone the whole month of September. He was supposed to be in Alaska, so I wasn't going to be able to go. And about 2 weeks before the show, he said he was staying home. And I said, great, I'm going to the show. You're staying home.
I love it.
So my whole reasoning for wanting to go was to meet the ladies of FWA, because I've talked to you guys over Zoom and FaceTime and everything, but I have only met, at the time, I'd only met Monica and Heather. And so I want to meet everybody else and just kind of solidify the relationship with the women of FWA. I think it's wonderful, the support that this group shows everybody, not just women in fence, but the fencing industry as a whole. And that really showed through with the breakout session we had. There was over 45 ladies that joined it, which is incredible. It was the largest session of the show. And Renee spoke on leadership styles and gave us a quiz on how to find your leadership style. And it was really interesting to see the different personality types in that room. And no matter what the personality types were, how supportive everybody was towards each other and wanted to know more about each other and their business and how they operated in their business. And they're taking little bits from everybody to try to build themselves back up in their own business. And it was just so cool to see all the connections that were being made.
No, I completely agree. I thought it was amazing. And Tiffany also helped spearhead that education breakout session for the women of FWA, and also did her like highly coveted course of entity structuring. Talk to us about the education, Tiff.
Yeah, well, just go ahead.
And I just want to apologize because I'm not going in the order I promised you we were going to go in.
You're still directing perfectly. Just also to follow up on the breakout session, I thought it was really awesome. You know, just to see, like you were saying, everybody wanted to collaborate, and we came up with those lists of words for like what embodies leadership. And I know I made a post about it, but for anyone that didn't see it, I just thought it was really cool how even though we were broken into groups, all kind of conversing in smaller circles, to come up with these words, there were 2 words that came up at every circle, and it was empathy and then communication/listening. And that's just something that we humans are kind of born with. You know, like some of us can choose to play more into our empathy and our empathetic side, and some of us can choose to ignore it, but like we all have those traits naturally. So we really decided, like our assertion at the end of that little focus group was like, hey, everybody is actually a leader. It's just a matter of like, are you embracing those traits inside yourself, and what are you doing with them? What kind of impact? So it was super empowering, and you know, like Amanda was saying, just to see that many different people get together, totally different personality types, which Renee was able to showcase for us. And then,
and we didn't prepare, right, Yadira? We had a lot of primarily Spanish-speaking women at the event. Can you speak to that some, and like how we had to kind of prepare and like do some translations in the process, and how we're not going to do that again?
We were lucky and fortunate that obviously, you know, I myself speak Spanish, and then we had Monica there who was helping to translate. But I was just thoroughly impressed with some of the women who made it to our breakout session who just didn't know English or have a hard time speaking the language, but yet still wanted to show up and be there, be a part of it. And, you know, despite the fear that we sometimes have, or you know, that something saying, you know, you can't do it, they got themselves out there. And especially shout out to my friend Elise, who made it all the way from Florida, flew there by herself, and you know, made it to the parties, made it to the education courses, made it to the Women of FWA booth. I was just thoroughly impressed with her and putting herself out there. So she will be getting a lot more involved, and we will be doing a lot more Spanish courses and Spanish lives on education in fence, because she does everything in her company. You know, she does sales, she does installs, she hires, she fires, she does everything. So I'm empowered by her.
Absolutely. No, Amanda, like, I don't know if you heard kind of the chatter on the floor about how many women showed up to this fence show, but everybody kept saying, look how many women have shown up to the Fence Show and Security Expo. Like, what on planet Earth? This was your first show, right, Amanda?
Yes. I think both Amandas.
And I was actually talking to Amanda too. Her too. Look, this is getting so weird. What did I text the group earlier, and I said a Yadira, a Susan, 2 Amandas, and a Tiffany walk into a bar. And I still seem to get it all confused. But Amanda Grove, is this your first trade show ever?
Yes.
Okay. So to you don't know that there were a lot of women or very few women, right?
I mean, it did seem like there were a lot of women, like from what I was expecting, there were a lot of women. Yeah. I was not expecting as many.
Right. And I think that just says a lot about the power of what we're doing here and the direction that we're going. But since it was your first trade show, tell me what it was like walking on the floor.
Again, I was not ready. Like, I even saw some setup, but when I actually got in there and started walking around, everyone is so friendly, so helpful. Like, what would you like to know? Like, here, let me show you this. Like, would just reach out and speak, and I love that so much. I felt so comfortable, like I wasn't even new to like the whole thing. Everyone made me super comfortable.
I love that. That makes me feel so warm in my heart. Uh, Speaking of another person who it was their first time at the show, even though Yadira was at the show last year.
I really wasn't at the show last year. I just felt like I was walking around during setup, and then I was stuck at registration the rest of the time. I think I maybe walked it once, but this time around, I did make it my mission to kind of step away, even though I was still overseeing registration, step away and actually get a chance to get to know some of the people who were there. I actually got to listen to a couple of the stage presenters, and I was so humbled by listening to Elijah's
Me too.
presentation, and just kind of he spoke on like leading through just humbleness and what changes he needed to do when he was very young, and how he was eating out of a
Gas station.
gas stations that a lot of people were doing, smoking a pack of cigarettes a day, and just the changes that he felt he needed to do to get him to the next level. And so it was really, really heartwarming to watch him speak. And then I actually got a chance to briefly talk to him at the Cigars with Brian, because we showed up towards the end. I actually got to hear also Kimberly Hurst's presentation. She was so good too. So she talked a little bit on social media, and everybody has a social media presence. Everybody needs, in this day and age, everybody needs a social media presence. So she kind of talked a little bit about what it is that you're trying to accomplish with your social media. Is it brand recognition? Is it sales? So she was very, very insightful into as to what it is that where you want to take your business from. If it's brand recognition, what social media platforms you should be using versus which ones are not going to generate that much, or whether it's sales. So it was very, very informative. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. I'd say altogether, I think it was a very successful show. I had a lot of fun. I got to really connect with everyone, even though, me and Yadira are running around a little more busy, a lot more things on our plates than with the women of FWA. So we didn't get to like sit and, or I didn't get to sit and hang out with nobody, not until after hours. But nonetheless, I'm so grateful for all you guys and all the hard work y'all did this year. I want to super shout out all of Mr. Fence team for showing up and working their booties off. I want to thank every single volunteer who showed up unpaid and worked so hard because they believe in what we're doing. We are doing this for small and medium size and large companies. We want to make the industry stronger. We want to give more opportunities. We want to make sure that you have access to education and everything. Like, man, sorry, I hit a button without even touching a button, you guys. But anyways, that's enough of all my cheese ball. Oh, hold on. We have to thank JC Gurry for all their support.
Yes.
Man, who else am I missing? I feel like I'm missing so many thank yous.
You're missing all of the people who came to our booth, the Women of FWA booth, and just kind of talked to us and started to get to know us. My first question was always, have you heard of FWA? Have you heard of the Women of FWA? So I actually had a lot of people who had never even heard of us. I was so shocked, but that shows you, and that proves to us that we got to get ourselves out there more, and whatever it is that we're doing right. So
interesting that you say that. So I went through last year's attendee list and this year's attendee list. We had something like 1,200 attendees that did not go to the show last year. So that's 1,200 new touches and hearts and people that we were able to connect with, you guys. Like, come on. That's amazing. Craig Eubanks says, I'll say it louder for the people in the back. The show was great. It was a different vibe than other shows. Thank you, Craig. Honestly, Craig was so awesome. He's like, hey, what do you want me to do? I'm like, your podcast? And he's like, well, who do you want me to interview? I'm like, people?
I want to shout out to Jackie Lopez and the Homeland Party.
Yes.
That was a riot. That was, it was the whole show to me was more, I think somebody else said it, intimate, but not like in a weird way. You know what I mean? Because it was just, there was a lot of opportunity to have real conversation and really actually get to spend time with people and have fun together, so to see everyone just cut loose on the dance floor, and the Spasmatics did a great job, you know what I mean? The whole show was just really great, so I wanted to shout Jackie out for that for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Oh yeah.
And then just to circle back one more time, since everybody's still quiet and I can keep talking, I wanted to talk a little more on the education. You had asked me, I got a little distracted by the shiny object of the women's breakout room, because that was really awesome. But I did want to say, as an educator, showing up, I was really freaking out, right? Like, I've got to show up, I've got to present. I've never even been to this location. Like, can I go see the rooms before? I got to just be in there. There was all these questions that I had, and it was made so easy by the way that FWA had it organized. I showed up in one room like 5 minutes before my class, just kind of trying to okay, assess the situation. And I was greeted by a personal assistant, Joe, I believe, from Las Vegas Fence. He did a wonderful job. There's another good shout out, who was there, prepared, ready to help me. Hey, do you need help understanding how to get your tech set up? Do you need, is there anything I can bring in to make this better for you? Is there, we'll shut the door. We'll keep the traffic to a minimum. I felt like, and then was affirmed with this really fancy ribbon that said instructor. I felt like this kind of VIP person, even though I was just teaching kind of something that I've only taught a couple times in that kind of a setting. So it was really cool. The whole VIP area with food and drinks to keep us going when we're just running around like crazy. I'm that kind of person that, might forget to eat if I'm just on a hustle. And since that was a week-long hustle, I was just absolutely grateful for the, hey, thanks for showing up to the booth. Did you go get something to eat? Did you, it was just, the whole thing was awesome.
Yeah. That veggie things that the women of FWA were like so good. I think I ate that as my lunch for the whole day. But that was kind of different and pretty neat.
Red Bull. Oh, I wouldn't have even found the Red Bull if not for Michaela and Dalton. I was walking past them looking all distraught, and they were like, hey, what's going on? And I was like, nothing. I got to run 6 miles down to the front of the casino and find a Red Bull somewhere. And they were like, hey, guys, we know that there's some free Red Bull right over in this lounge over here. So
you can definitely thank Marissa. She's like the woman behind all the really great things that happen, like Red Bulls. Cause if you put it in my hands and somebody said we should have Red Bulls, I'd be like, who drinks Red Bulls? You'd be getting water on top of water. That's hilarious. But anyways, okay. Well, I'd say that the show was a fantastic, fantastic show. I think 2025 is going to be bigger and better.
Forward to 25. I'm so excited. I'm already playing.
I know. I'm stoked too.
It's kind of I'm feeling like this, before the show, for 2 months, we're hustle, 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 hustle. And then 2 weeks before, it's hustle, even more hustle, sleep, you just go, and you barely eat. And then the show is that week of the show, it's it's here. And that, it's just kind of on Friday, it ends. And then you're like, now what?
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not have that.
So-
I had that like want to hustle the instant I got home to get ready for next year.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and I think that that's kind of like what our focus is right now. Just so kind of everybody knows what we are working on the back end of FWA. You know, that the whole idea over FWA is, what are we passionate about? We're passionate about small businesses. So we're trying to tailor all of our resources. We're trying to come up with new resources for you to join, to become part of our network, to take advantage of the discounts that we do have. We're going out to get new partners to partner up with us. So that's kind of what our focus is. We're redoing some of our websites to make it easier for anyone who's looking for education, to looking to highlight your products, looking to highlight, to become part of our, the women. If you want to become a part of the women of WFWA and kind of hang out, and you can sit with us. So it's just kind of make it easier for everyone.
I love that. You're so sweet, Yadira.
Aww.
You're like the reminder in my pocket to, like, it's like when I'm down, you're up, and when you're up, I just said it twice, but you know what I mean. Like, I'm like, we're gonna live in our wins, and you're like, yes, we are. Like,
I've
that
never believed in the
reminder.
Sugar, spice, and everything nice until I met Yadira. It's like,
right?
Oh, that's why they came up with that.
Right? Seriously. So, Amanda Grove. Hey, y'all like that? How was your first podcast?
It was more comfortable than I thought it was going to be, other than my phone deciding to just go haywire for a second.
It happens.
But after this week, it won't be my phone. I will be actually at our little podcast station. So
sweet. Well, what's this podcast station we speak of?
The Gatekeepers Podcast, and it's going to be 7:30 tonight. It'll be my first time co-hosting with hubby.
Yay!
So, guys, I have to say, you have made me feel so much better about going on to that one now. Like, you are right, Susan. Thank you for having me come on today.
I have this special superpower, as Veronica says, where I bully you into something, but I make you think it's your idea.
So true.
So,
and it's always the right thing that we're getting bullied into. So,
yep.
I'm an evil genius. What can I say?
I'm super excited about it.
So, things to look forward to for the rest of this year. We would like to get more of your stories. We want to go through our stories and stuff like that. We want to share how we got into the fencing industry, why we're in the fence industry, where we came from and stuff like that. And just kind of go into, like, what do we specialize in, right? Like, I specialize in gate operators and access control. And so, like, for the rest of the year, like, we're looking for volunteers to share their story and their strengths. And we're going to live in the rest of 2024 in our wins. We're going to share our stories. We're going to empower each other. And I invite every single one of the Amandas back again, because I'd love to hear more about, where you came from and where you're going, and, how we can all be better together, right? Like,
yes.
Golly, who would have thought that the women of FWA would have even been a thing, right?
Yes.
Not me. I was so excited to hear about it.
So, other than that, Amanda Hunt, is there anything you would like to say before we close out this evening?
Just that, like, being the first time at a fencing trade show for me as well, it was incredible to see the amount of just the diverse booths that were there, and the vendors, and then all the education classes that were offered. Everybody that was involved with it, they were giving their 110%. So it was just so cool to see that much effort go into 4 days for everybody that was showing up to, like, as a spectator. Like, truly everything that the FWA is doing is for the small businesses, and you've got to be included in it because it is going to help your business go so far.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Baby Hunt, you got something to say, girlfriend?
No.
Okay. Tiffany, you got anything to say before we close out, sis?
I just saw Rosina pop up on there. So might as well shout out our girl Rosina too. Got to meet her. She's awesome. She's an accountant, so she's the exact kind of person that I'd like to collaborate with as far as, just providing those kinds of strategic services in the fence industry. So that was really awesome. And I met a lot of people that are looking into chain link supply. So I'm really excited to build those relationships and start, being more active on the chain link side of things in our industry too. But elsewise, without sounding like a broken record and just talking about how awesome the show was yet again, I think that's probably all I got.
Amanda Grove, you got anything to say before we roll?
I just actually really, really enjoyed putting names with faces.
Yeah.
So all the
In real life.
I see, yes, in real life, and watching you guys, like, it really made me happy to be able to be there and be like, hi, give me a hug. Like, I've been watching you forever. So that made me super happy.
Real quick, do you have time to tell the world how you met Bailey and Colby Bierman?
Me? I met them at the show.
Right, on the elevator.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I have watched Bailey and Colby on my husband's podcast, the Gatekeepers podcast. I've followed them, so forth. So I mean, me over here just assuming everyone knows who I am for some reason. I don't know. I see them in the elevator. I am super excited. I am like, oh my God, hey guys. Oh my God, I'm so glad you're here. And they are just looking at me. And mind you, I have a Louisville shirt on because I had just flown from there and got a shirt. So they're all lost, like nothing fences on this lady. I don't know who this is. And so they just kind of gave me that look. And I was like, you don't know who I am, do you? And they were, no. And I was like, I'm Billy Grove's wife, and I'm so excited to meet you. I've been watching you guys. And at that point, you could see both their faces like light up, like, oh God, yes. Oh my gosh, okay. But yeah, I completely threw them for a loop. They were just completely lost. Like, hi, lady.
That's awesome.
When she told me that story, she's like, I was totally geeking out. I'm like, we gotta tell the world.
I was loud. Oh my God, hi guys. And they were
That's so funny. Okay, Yadira, my rock. Anything you'd like to say before we roll out?
No, other than like Amanda said, it was just kind of really nice to put, to shake somebody's hand. I always feel like social media is just, I don't know. I don't like it so much, but I'm good like talking to you in person. I want to hold you. I want to touch you. I want to give you a hug, I want to BS about dumb stuff in person. So hopefully my husband and I actually start getting out now that the show's over and actually making some of those connections with some of you guys. And, who knows? I might come visit Amanda Hunt or Amanda Grove. So
Michigan.
Yeah.
Well, while I hope Amanda doesn't have to leave her home this week, if she does, she'll be in my neck of the woods and I can't wait. Anyways, prayers to everybody in that Floribama region that's supposed to get hit with the Cat 3. Please reach out to us and we'll do what we can to get resources to you should you need it. You can email womenofFWA@gmail.com or Susan@FenceShow.com. And, we can see what we can do about getting bottled water and diapers or wipes, should y'all need it after the storm. Just keep us posted. Because to Pensacola is just like a 3-hour drive. What's up, Yadira?
I also just remembered that for those of you that donated to the Women of FWA in the form of, getting a t-shirt or a pullover and stuff, I'm kind of finalizing that order now, and you should be receiving them pretty soon in the next week or two.
Wonderful. Y'all hear my kid in the background? So loud. Okay, you guys, that's all we got for today. We'll see you next week. I don't know what the show's about yet, but it's going to be about a woman of the FWA.
Yep.
Peace.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody.